being queer and POC, you can't really assess your life in your 20s the same way, heteronormative people move. I've really only just like stepped into my skin this year, like
Mm.
I feel like now I know myself, and it's because I did so much shedding. They did foster that environment for sure. BuzzFeed was very open to a lot of that. It was where I had like a lot of my first big formal like queer conversations. The thing is, when we are people that are stepping into lives that have never been lived before, we have to lead. It does take someone stepping out and saying, this is who I am. I'm unapologetically this, and this is how I move. Catch up.
You've clocked into office hours with work besties Sohan and Hameda, helping you survive and thrive between 9 and 5.
We believe in work and play, so get ready to crush your career and live your best life. Hameda, I'm so excited for this episode.
This is going to be so great.
We've got Zotti. Sorry, we're both like so keen to just talk.
We just want to talk. I'm most excited for our YouTube audience for this one.
Yes. If you know us from the BuzzFeed Oz YouTube, you'll be very excited. We've got Zotti on this episode to talk about their BuzzFeed origin story.
Yes.
How they started, how we met.
Yes.
And everything that they've learned.
Which is so... I'm just really like as excited as I am to have them here with us so that just we can yap, because it's so much fun. I'm so excited for you guys at home to hear this advice, to hear this wisdom, because their trajectory and like everything that they've done, especially if you're trying to be a creative, like this is going to be a juicy episode for you.
Yeah. Let's get straight into it.
Zotti, also known as @zot.com, is a queer, non-binary, Latino, Italian, Australian creative working across film, production, and social media. Their career spans entertainment, fashion, and media, with collaborations on projects for Netflix, Westfield, BuzzFeed, COS, Mecca, Nike, Bonds, Pedestrian TV, Concrete Playground, and more. They've worked with talent ranging from... Oh my God, why do I keep saying raging?
Raging.
Some of the talent were raging.
They have worked with talent ranging from G Flip and Jessica Malboy to Chris Hemsworth and Paul Mescal. Beyond production, Zotti is a rising force in the queer music scene, a diva award-nominated DJ who brings high energy sets to spaces such as Heaps Gay and Birdcage. Currently, they're part of the Spotify Australia and New Zealand team as a marketing consultant, championing local music and shaping the brand's social presence across the region.
Wow.
Welcome, Zotti.
What an intro.
Welcome and goodbye. Thank you.
And that's it.
That's all we need to say, really.
Yeah.
We're so excited to have you here. This little reunion is so fun.
Yeah.
We're going to kick things off with a guest question. What's one misconception that people often have about your industry or role?
I think, one misconception. I think people tend to think they know how it all works. And while structures and systems seem to be really black and white, there's more nuance to them, and your network is a big part of it. So like how you move with people, work with them, and communicate, I think that's something people kind of take for granted. They look at opportunity and say, well, you have the skill, that's how you got it, nothing more. But there is like a huge social game to it. Right place, right time, knowing how to show up, when to show up, and when to disappear.
I love that.
Yes.
That's a very good tip. Another question for you. So you have worked across fashion, film, music, media. When people ask, what do you do? What do you say?
Oh my gosh. It's a really hard question. I say I work in like the creative, social, and content film space.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because I'm kind of across all of it to an extent. I really hate when I tell people I work in socials and they go, that makes sense. And they're like,
Okay.
yeah, because there's more to it. I think socials has just been the amalgamation of all my experience, but I like to try and keep it broad, not too specific. And also because once again, word of mouth is opportunity and how I get opportunity, and I don't like to be pigeonhole into like, is that the word, pigeonhole?
Yeah,
I was
totally.
about to say pigeon box. That's our highest school
Fake
with the
dick.
teachers.
Listen.
Yeah. I don't
Still a
like to be
box.
defined as one thing. I think we're all like,
I would say you're a creative curator of vibes.
period.
And it doesn't need to be anything specific.
Yeah.
It could be for anything. But
Yeah.
you're such a master at like generating vibes. Whatever that
Yes.
word means in that context, like you just bring things to life. Like
Yeah.
a doctor for
Yeah.
creative projects.
Oh my God, I love that.
Whoa. Update the title.
And that to the bio.
Add it in.
You've crossed industries that move fast: film, fashion, music, media. How do you personally keep up with the change of pace?
I think I try a lot. I get burnt out a lot. But ultimately, it's what I return back to because I guess, am I going to expose myself? My people pleasing tendency, not my people pleasing, my perfectionism brings me back to it. I think what keeps me coming back is opportunity, and what keeps me flowing through them all and, with it all is looking at the opportunities that there is, looking at the people that are out there, and I always seem to find a little tweak or a little something that I think could be bridged. And I'm always thinking like that. Like I can't turn this like, I don't know, working mind off and strategic mind off. It's really like, me on a personal level, and it's kind of all I like to talk about, sometimes to my own detriment. But yeah, I love, problem solving stuff. And I think you have to kind of have an awareness of a little bit of everything if you're moving with the speed of culture.
So true.
The speed of culture. That's a great line.
Yeah, and even like platforms and things, it's always changing. So you mentioned before burnout. Like, what's a tip you've got for anyone going through burnout?
Great question. Don't do it. I struggle with this a lot. I think burnout isn't like, I don't think you can give burnout one tip. I think
Choose one.
preventing burnout is a lifelong strategy. You need to learn to shed things that aren't working for you and prioritize yourself and your needs. And that's not just like, I won't go out this weekend. That's like knowing what's for you and what's not. And that takes a while for people to get there, because society loves to say to us, this is how it should be. If you're a good friend, you're going to come out at this time. If you're having a there's all these like reasons too. You have to find out for yourself what works for you and what doesn't. And that's my tip.
I love that.
Yeah.
So like the preventing stage of it is probably the most important.
Mm,
Yeah, I love
yeah.
that. What's a creative risk you're glad you took, even if it didn't go to plan?
My podcast.
Oh my God, shout out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So I did a podcast called In My Podcast Era. Shout out to me. And filmed, edited, directed, produced, co-produced by Hameda. Shout out Marcus. But basically I did this podcast, and it was right after a job ended. I was out on my own freelancing. I was like, this is the perfect time to do it. Kind of coordinated everything from the ground up. But what I didn't do, and I don't know if this would have helped or not, but marketing and release strategy. I took a risk by making this podcast. It was so much fun. It was so awesome to create. But it flop-yarned, and it was not like completely flopped. I just didn't go as hard as it needed to. I really saw it as an extension of myself, when really it was its own product. It was its own brand. And that comes down to self-belief, but it was a great lesson of self-belief. Your project and your visions will only succeed as far as you can see them succeeding. And you also need the systems and support in order to maintain it. And that's something I didn't have at the time. But I'm so glad I took it, because that vulnerability allows me to connect with a lot of other creators. And right now I'm, talking to people starting their own projects and giving them advice about like structures and setting up these things that they need to. When we were in the early days of this, we even had some conversations.
Yeah.
Cute brand. These are really cute.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think I'm really glad I took that risk, even though it didn't pay off the way I wanted to, it brought me a lot into my life, and stay tuned for the next one.
Oh, can't wait. Honestly, I loved it and I thought it was so good
Same.
and it looked amazing and everyone shout out, go listen to it.
Honestly, I don't know if is it still up?
It's still up.
It's still up.
Yeah.
Go and
Spotify,
listen
YouTube.
because you will learn so much. It's basically it's a guest, like every episode has a guest, different parts of the industry. If you're a creative person or you're going into content and you're listening to this, it's basically this, but with more industries, more information, more
Yeah.
different figures that you can learn from. Literally, I think who did you have as a guest on? You
I
had so many
had
great people.
your friend Rowie C,
Rowie,
who's
shout
an
out.
influencer, Domsky, another beauty influencer, Art Simone, etc., etc. Chantal Montaigne Ichiban, radio DJ, Triple J host, party starter. Chris Andrew Small, who is a artist, queer artist from Sydney, who's basically collaborated with every brand under the sun, Europe, America, here. But it was all just, conversations around people pursuing their own paths in the eras pre, present, and future.
Oh, stunning.
It's so good.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'm so excited to get into your BuzzFeed origin story, Zotti, because one thing that I also want to talk about is when we first met
On a boat.
on a boat. So I'll tell from my perspective, then you can tell from yours. But I remember we were at this boat party, like through mutual friends, you were there, and we just got started talking. And I realized that you worked at like a similar place to work because I was at BuzzFeed at the time. And we just got chatting about work stuff, which never happens when I'm socializing. I feel like normally when I'm out with my friends, I really clock off and like live in the moment. But I just loved talking to you about content and strategy. A job came up at BuzzFeed, or we were in the process of like hiring a video producer, and then got your resume, got it through. So tell me about it from your end. What were you doing before BuzzFeed, and how did BuzzFeed get on your radar?
Yeah, so basically I was going through a deep and dark depression.
Relatable.
And I think this is like something good to talk about. Basically, I lost my job. I was in this time of like deciding whether or not I should freelance, and I was freelancing, but I was really finding it hard to kind of connect to my sense of self because I wasn't doing. I also just left a place that, was a big cultural influence at the time, but didn't really pay any attention to data, which was so infuriating because there was all these insights and learnings of how we can optimize it. And at the time, I think the world was very like, you're a creative or you know the numbers. You can't mix the two.
Yeah.
So that type of speak that's, now we see 20,000 like, here's how to blow up on TikTok influencers. But
Yeah.
back then it was just so far away from our industry. And so, I was at this boat party. I was like, I'm going to be a film photographer today. Picked up a film camera. It wasn't working. I was stressing out. Finally started having a good time. And that's when I stumbled across you. Were you in your blonde hair?
I was in the blonde hair era. You had pink hair?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Oh,
so.
beige baddies.
And basically like we linked up. I was like, I'm looking for freelance work. I come from this media space, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, oh, come freelance for us.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
network member. Sorry, I can't swear.
Yeah.
Network. That's how important it is. But so we started chatting. You guys got me in for freelancing just as an editor. And I was in this booth. And
Oh.
being in a booth is not, I mean, like, I loved it, but being in one place and doing one thing is not very me coded. And eventually I stumbled into the studio, started trying food on camera, started tee-heeing, ha-haing with everyone. And next thing I know, I was like helping produce, being in the videos. A job came up, I applied for it. I think that was like hell month or so for me. I was like, Amita, do they want me? Do they not? But eventually, I got the job offer, and that's how I
So
started
excited.
BuzzFeed.
So like for anyone listening that doesn't know, you might recognize Zotti from the BuzzFeed Oz YouTube channel. That's like kind of the content we were doing at the time was a lot of like those taste test videos and challenge videos. We did some like styling videos. It was so
that
fun.
was so fun.
So that's kind of the work we were doing and how we all were working with Zotti at the time.
Yes. Although I will say I was obsessed with you when you started and we weren't friends.
No.
We weren't friends. And we are now best friends.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
genuinely like sibling energy, like related
Yeah.
best friends. We
Yeah.
lived together for like 6 months.
Yeah.
But back then, It was very, very separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember when the job came up and there was an op to make you permanent, I was like,
Yeah.
guys, what are we doing?
We
Like,
were
we
all
need
for you.
Zotti.
I was actually like talking to you about decoding my dreams a lot.
Yeah.
That was our relationship.
Yeah.
Like I'd have a cryptic dream come over to Hameda and be like, yo, what does this mean?
Yeah.
And that's so fun for me. So it was
Yeah.
great. I was like, I would love to talk about this.
Yeah.
Or talk about it. But then when you did get the job, it was kind of like, this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
everything started to make sense.
Yeah.
And then I think that's probably when like our YouTube golden era began.
Totally.
Period.
It was. Oh, we love it.
So do you actually remember finding out that you got the job, what that was like?
Yeah, I think I kind of remember. Weirdly, I asked a psychic like what would happen beforehand, and it was like a very cryptic
I
message.
think that's weird. I think that's really cool. And I think a lot of people actually do go to psychics for info like that.
Period. Well, yeah, I think I always love to get like a sense check
Mm.
outside of myself without like a bias. But yeah, I remember I was coming into work, everything was, being sorted out, and then rock up, and I think it was Ev, shout out to Ev, who made me the formal offer and was like, "Oh, can we have a meeting?" And I was like, "Oh, they're gonna tell me like they want someone else or this, that." And then yeah, they gave me the job.
Oh my God.
It was so
We
exciting.
were all so excited.
It was so exciting. But it was like a while. I was freelancing for a while beforehand, so it felt really nice to finally be on the books and like part of the furniture. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got
Let's.
FOMO in those meetings. It's like you
Yeah.
guys all get to go to fun meeting. Yeah, I mean, meetings are meetings. But at the
Literally, I
time,
had
I
to
was
say
like,
by the end, you were probably like, I don't want to go to the meeting.
yes, I was.
So true. So going back to when you first started freelancing at BuzzFeed, what was your first day at BuzzFeed like? Do you remember your first impressions coming into the BuzzFeed office, meeting the people?
Yeah, I think, look, I definitely would have had like a bit of an attitude thinking back then. Well, because I came from a world of like where everything was measured with like hot and cool and sans serif fonts, and BuzzFeed was like authentic and
Yeah.
bold, and it was very different to me, especially like prior to that I was like fighting for my life in like a photographer pit at like the Dion Lee runway for Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week outside of like the Sydney Opera House. Like it was a very different world. And so coming into this space where it was like we'll all figure it out together was just
Yeah.
blew my mind. And but it worked because we'll get into this a bit more later, but I think it worked because there was a big trust in data. There was a big trust in strategy, and it was like we can always go back to that when we forget. Where a lot of the other places were, or a lot of the other projects I worked on were more about how you show up in the moment than what you can do long term sustainably and backed by data and facts.
Yeah. Was there like a moment where you were like, holy shit, I work at BuzzFeed?
I think honestly, and I feel like a lot of people will resonate with this when there's not many permanent things in their life. Like I have a lot of opportunity around me all the time, and I do have those moments where I'm like, holy shit. But if I don't constantly like reinforce the narrative that everything comes and goes, I think I get a little too attached. And also because of like my upbringing, I've never really felt like I belong to one place or one time. I'm just kind of here now. So yeah, it was really cool, I guess. I think all those like that was it. It was less of like I work here, this is cool. It was more of like I get to work with these people. That was like, and it was the energy that I
Yeah.
was attracted to, and it's like that's what always pulls me to like different spaces, like even being at Spotify now. Being able to work with people who create, being able to work with music artists and
Yeah.
connect with people who have a similar appreciation of what it is we do.
Yeah. So speaking of the vibes, like, was there anything about the BuzzFeed culture or vibe that stood out to you in those early days?
Yes. A lot of the media spaces were very male dominated. And when they weren't, I feel like there might have been some internalized misogyny going on in the building. But at BuzzFeed, Jules and Ev and Beck and you fostered a really good environment for navigating creative challenges and
Mm.
being able to come to the table and say, these are the results, this is my idea, or here's the insight, this is my idea, was such a great way of working that I still, it doesn't happen everywhere. And
Yeah.
that's why BuzzFeed will go down as like one of like the greatest spaces
Mm.
because one, it was like a very safe femme energy vibes. And two, yeah, we really, really respected data, learning, and insights
Yeah.
before creativity or with creativity. And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
it all felt like a bit of a formula, didn't it? It was like not just throwing shit at the wall.
yeah,
I mean, we had a bit of that.
No, but like I think also being neurodivergent, and you are as well, having information on why we were doing something, that's all we need. And BuzzFeed is so good at telling you why. It's like either data, an insight, whatever, like literal comments. Like anyway, you always know why you're doing what you're doing. And it's so secure.
Yeah. And a lot of other media places I worked to prior were just, when there was ideas pitched or when there were things that I pitched, even though I had proof that, hey, this is the highest performing video that I, because of XYZ, it still would come down to whether like two people thought it was cool or not. And I found that really frustrating.
Yeah.
And at the time I was kind of like finding my voice. And so, you come to table with nervous energy or you're second guessing yourself. Of course, the really bold and ambitious people are going to be like, well, that's not cool because you didn't say it with your chest. And I think that's like a very Australian thing. That's another story for another culture. But yeah, I think just, having that environment where there is a why or you can explain the why and having people with the willingness to understand you was just amazing. It was a good time.
We're talking a lot about the why behind content. Like, was there a piece of content that you made or that you were a part of that made you feel like you'd arrived or that stuck with you until now?
I can name so many. Maybe you've just forgotten because it's like so far out of you. You've lived like 18 lives.
Yeah.
Like it's not even an exaggeration. Like I'm serious.
A moment that I feel like I still have so much to show the world. And
that.
yeah, I think while I would love to say one, I don't feel like there's been something end to end that I've been left unscathed and proud of. I don't know if that moment will ever come where I do like a project that I'm like, I love this, and then there's no drama around it. And that's on being a perfectionist. But yeah, I think every BuzzFeed food video we did was really awesome. I was proud to do it. I was proud that I was getting to do that with my besties, make an impact. And, like for us, it was really about showing that there is more to Australian voices than Rebecca from XY News or whatever the fuck. Sorry.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Rebecca from XY. But yeah, I think just being able to like do like more culture specific content I think was really cool, and seeing it perform well was really awesome. I think it wasn't like some of them I wasn't even a part of, just like you guys were doing it. I was like, this is what it's about, like I guess like brands will always have their big purpose and big goals, but I try to focus on what we can do here in our communities and like the impact it has when we raise voices. So that's kind of like the biggest things I look at. But also just like being able to create a network with like the first generation of TikTok influencers in Australia.
Yes.
I will never forget that. And also to this day, we were at an event recently. And shout out to Josiah, like those people, like they're still, and Jasmine, like they're people that I'm still like talking to from back then. So I think like I'm proud of everything that, but I'm always evolving.
I love that. It's such a good perspective to have. I think you're so right. Like sometimes at BuzzFeed, you may not have necessarily been a part of the creation of the content, but knowing that it was happening under the BuzzFeed brand, it made me feel really proud to work there and to be contributing in some way. Like the cultural theme weeks we did, all the amazing work that the news team did. I was like, I'm proud to work in this business. So
the creative industry can be tough for queer and POC talent. Did working at BuzzFeed feel like a space where you could explore your identity in your work more so perhaps than in the past?
Yeah, I think it was tricky. Like, it was definitely the space for it. Like, it
Mhm.
allowed me to. But looking back, I think, like, being queer and POC, you can't really assess your life in your 20s the same way, heteronormative people move. I've really only just, like, stepped into my skin this year, Like,
Mm.
I feel like now I know myself, and it's because I did so much shedding. They did foster that environment for sure. BuzzFeed was very open to a lot of that, you know, it was where I had, like, a lot of my first big formal, like, queer conversations with people,
Mm.
internationally and locally and stuff. But it also was limited to what the broader media landscape knew and accepted at the time.
Yeah.
So it really took me stepping out and leading that to, I don't know, explore that. But yeah, it was cool. Like, everyone had my back with it, which was really nice. And everyone was, like, very supportive and accepting of it. And I think that's really cool.
Mhm.
In terms of the broader media industry, I mean, the thing is, when we are people that are stepping into lives that have never been lived before, unfortunately, and I really wish there was a little invitation that said, "Yo, we love you for you, come on." But there isn't.
Mm.
And that really sucks. That's a really hard thing.
Mm.
But we have to lead, you know? There isn't, like, a list of 20 best trans XYZ people in Australia, because it's still something we're legislating for. It's still, we're trying to foster these safe spaces.
Mhm.
And while a lot of people can support the community, and it's up to us to all bridge that gap, it does take someone stepping out and saying, "This is who I am. I'm unapologetically
Mm.
this, and this is how I move. Catch up."
Mm.
Mm.
And it's scary to be that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So
Because when you are that person, and everyone's experienced that to a degree, when you are that person, it makes us second guess ourselves,
Mhm.
and overthinking is just the enemy of, all great creatives. And
Mm.
I think, yeah, that was my experience. Safe space, you got to be your own leader.
Yeah, there was no
Yeah.
path to follow.
No.
Not like in, for example, the US, BuzzFeed US, there are so many great
Yeah.
talent that were
Yeah.
doing everything that we wanted to do, but there was no one here doing that yet.
And even, like, look at BuzzFeed with, like, the Latam stuff.
Mm.
Like, there was a whole network of Latino people, like, championing.
Better like shout out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, they were all working together as a network. And then here it's like, oh, well, you're in Osabo, like, cool.
Yeah, it's
But
secondary.
other people, yeah, in the States, it's such a huge thing to, there's such a big network of people that, it's really about celebrating. And here it's like, well, we don't know your culture and we're not really interested in learning.
Yet.
Yes.
Yet.
And that's not everyone. That's just the speed of what Australia moves at, very slow,
Yeah.
know?
Mhm. How did BuzzFeed influence where you are now?
Okay. I've got so many things to say about this.
Okay.
One, the framework of how BuzzFeed influenced me so much, and still to this day, I think people are very sick of me talking about it in a lot of spaces, even spaces you
Same.
don't think would necessarily need that injection. And I see people roll their eyes, but I'm like, provide me some logic or insight that can back up your answer. That's tried and tested, and then let's have a conversation. And
Yeah.
in a lot of the spaces, they can't. And it's really cool to be moving at a pace now where I can. I didn't answer the question.
Okay.
The question was, how has it influenced me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Data, once again, like, I think BuzzFeed really taught me the power and impact of strategizing, looking at your data, and looking at the story that tells. Beyond just likes and engagement, but, like, looking at retention for me was a huge thing. It really showed how, like, little tweaks with, like, sound, or if people are talking too much about themselves, we saw that people would drop off at certain points.
Yeah.
And, like, looking at that has changed the way I produce things entirely. Like, now going to things, I make sure I get my little sound bites at the start, or I'll let people speak freely, but I'll make sure I'm, like, getting them to reiterate these core things, because although we do want a level of authenticity, unfortunately, we're playing with an algorithm that
Yeah.
has its own rules. And if we need to tell these stories, we need to look at the data so that we can strategize so those voices are heard.
Mhm.
Because if you're yelling in a big hole into like a big hole, Hall, to like your homes, nobody's going to hear it. But give them the megaphone
Yeah.
and the whole space will hear it. And that's strategy, you know?
Mhm.
And people love to dismiss it and overlook it. But that's something I've taken with me. There's so much more. I probably could write a book. I've got a presentation on it.
I love
But there's so many teachings and learnings that I've been able to apply into every aspect of my industry. And it's just that collective knowledge, those little one-liners when I feel insecure, when I'm not sure about a decision, or when I need to think of something new I can return to.
I love that.
That's amazing. Also, I just want to cut in and say, Zotti, hands down, best producer I've ever seen in action.
Yes.
Ever.
Literally iconic. You would make us all feel so comfortable in that studio. And I would always have so much fun on your shoots.
Yeah.
Also, you were so efficient. Like I remember it was like 20 minutes. Done.
And still to this day,
Yeah.
and still to this day, I think
And also
it's
your
nice hearing that.
Your edits was so fun.
Giving a personality to the
Yeah.
person editing.
Yeah, some of you guys might not realize if you're a BuzzFeed Oz YouTube fan is that the guys that were producing the videos and in the videos also editing the videos. I mean, we had other people help out as well, but like a lot of the time, and I loved seeing your personality come through the edit. It was so fun.
Yes, it was really awesome. And like, I think the cool part of that is that I obviously wanted to like really shape the brand. And the way to do that was finding success and then we would repeat it.
Yeah.
So if I found success by taking a risk, I also had the power to influence how that space would look and feel. So that was really, really cool. But yes, I do. This is my own little, I'm going to toot my own little
Hell yes.
on office hours because this is the hour to toot my own horn. But yeah, I do really feel like vulnerability, my knowledge of data and insights, and then just not being afraid to be a clown in front of people is what makes me the best social and content and creative producer in Australia. And I've got the data to back that up as well. And hearing it from you guys again and like people I'm working with now, I don't know, I'm proud. I'm proud to do what I do.
You should be.
I'm proud to have worked with you.
Literally. Okay, I got a random one thrown there. Are there any like fun stories that you remember from the days at BuzzFeed that you want to share?
Or a favorite video, even if you're not proud of it, like what do you think is so fun? Because I have one.
No.
I have one.
No.
It's all of the viral challenges from like early internet.
That was fun. That was so fun.
That's my favorite. It was one of my favorite BuzzFeed
I love
videos.
that one.
It's so funny and silly. It's literally just, it's basically almost just like a day in the life of you and Tom.
Yeah.
Like really, for us watching it, like, it's just they're like, like going through every cinnamon challenge, chubby bunny, planking.
Yeah.
So funny.
Oh my God, that was so fun. I think that was a really fun one for me. I think another really memorable kind of moment where like we had these things called meme days that you ran.
Yeah.
And like it was a competition, which I'm like, making memes for my work, for my job, for my salary. Absolutely not. Bring in an element of competition. Hell yeah. Scorpio, Capricorn, and Virgo. It's all of them wanting to succeed, but with method. But yeah, I love those days. And it got me really into it because, you know, I don't even know if there was an actual prize, was there?
I think, was there? I don't
was
remember.
just like
Maybe it was like you get an hour off on a Friday or something.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was just like my way of like getting everyone in a room to help me with memes, like make content. But it was so much fun because like we would just be like, okay, all the other work that you've got to do, pause it for today. It's a Friday. We'll all like, I think sometimes we all went into a meeting room
in the boardroom
and just sat there and made memes and laughed about.
Girl, memes day was so fun. And I think that was just such a great, I don't know, like that. I haven't had an office experience like that to generate ideas and content in that structure since. And it was just so much fun and showed how much people cared about engaging employees. Like, because it wasn't just employees. I know in previous episodes, you had a conversation about like workplace relationships and friends, but we were close with each other. We did value each other a lot. There was friendship and there was, you know, a sense of mutual respect. So we really, really wanted to curate the experience for everyone. And
Yeah.
I think that's, why Meme Day was so far.
Okay. If you could go back to day one at BuzzFeed, what advice would you give yourself? Little past Zotti with the pink hair, cotton candy hair.
That's a great question. Stop doing skip videos.
I was going to say, be friends with Hameda.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
friends with Hameda.
No, but
We
girl, I'm
got there in the
so grateful that we were friends when we were friends because I needed you at that time in my life. I really did. I think if I could go back, I would be more shameless about who I was and what I was doing. I think like there was obviously challenges with posting, global restrictions, whatnot. But I think like at that time, I wish I took more risks. I would say take 10 more risks a day.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that.
that's great advice.
thank you.
But let's just clarify, they're not talking about stealing.
Yeah.
Those aren't the kind of risks.
No.
that I was talking
No. Not stealing. Risks as in creative risks. I think like and listen to Sohan more actually. Yeah, because I was like, I look back on some of my videos, I'm like, girl, where the fuck are this? I'm like, girl, where are the stakes? You know? That was
like,
one thing
raise
I'm like,
stakes. That was
yeah,
actually
you
Ev.
always-
Ev was
but
the
it
one.
was, shout out to Ev.
Shout out to Ev.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out that I wasn't a video producer. And to this day, whenever I'm coming up with a new concept, Sohan's voice is in my head saying, who cares?
Yeah.
Why does someone care about this?
Yeah.
Literally. And when you first hear that, it's so jarring.
Yo, it's
scary.
very like rude.
Oh.
It's like, who cares? But it's true.
It literally is so true. And I think like it's something so important. And going through that process, like at the time when we were posting feedback and everyone comments on it. And then like this
love
is the way yeah, but like now like I'm so much and maybe I did take 10 risks.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm just like shouting out to past me. Well, I think
out.
like anyway, I'm trying to be
Honestly,
conclusive.
shout
so you
out to
can
past you because that
you.
version of you got you here now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we love.
barely, but we did a good job.
You did a great job.
Well done.
Great job. Are you
Thank
joking?
Thank
Do you know how amazing you are?
Aw.
That's
Truly.
that's not an all
That's so-
moment. That's just legitimate.
Just a fact.
Like even if I
Yes.
hated you, I'd be like, damn, Slotty's really good.
Thanks, guys. I think when you're starting your career,
Mm.
there's because of the systems we go through, high school, university, there's a real need to define yourself quite young, to cement yourself and assert yourself in that. But I think one way or another, life is going to throw you into different circumstances, and being able to take those risks and being fluid to the opportunity that comes up to you, even though it doesn't look like what you originally thought, I think is something more people should do. Because there's a lot out there. It just might not look the same as what it did in your head yesterday. But if you're open to it, your life is going to change tenfold. And there's, more offerings, more creativity, more blessings, more besties to come. So yeah, I would say just keep an open mind. I wanted to be a film director. Now I'm making content.
Could still be a film.
You could still.
I still, okay,
If you want to.
let me rewind that. Started off wanting to be a film director. Now I'm working in content. And I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Stunning.
Love
We
it.
love having you in content. But yeah,
Yeah.
keep making content.
Please keep having me. See you soon.
Oh, yes.
Yes. We'll
have to
definitely
get-
have you back.
We
on
have
the
to get
pod.
this one out of the way so that
Yeah.
we can get Slotty on more
We can get some
episodes.
more. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It was so insightful, so lovely. And I'm sure everyone's happy to see your face again.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you guys so much.
Office Hours with Sohan and Hameda is a Val Morgan Digital production and part of the BuzzFeed Australia network. Have a question or topic you want us to cover or a workplace dilemma you want us to unpack? Send us a DM on Instagram at officehoursbf or drop us an email on officehours@valmorgan.com.au.
For more, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Office Hours BF. You can follow Sohan on socials at Sohan Judge and follow Hameda on socials at It's Hameda.
Our music is by Jasic. Make sure to hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss an episode. And if you like what you hear, please rate us 5 stars and tell your friends to clock in.